Hey, welcome to All Things Fiction. I'm going to be talking about One Tree Hill Season 2 and my top 5 favorite moments from the season. Honestly, this season was probably not one of my favorite seasons, but I did really like it. I think it grew from season 1 and you got to see the characters really grow and move forward with their storylines. There were some things that annoyed me in this season as well, like some characters. Some of the decisions they made didn't make me very happy. I'm a big Nathan and Hayley fan and a lot of stuff went down with them. Good things happened too, but then it just obviously, if you know the show, it was obviously a hard season to watch. Naylee-wise. It was also hard for Keith. Yeah, a lot of drama went down. So anyway, let's get to my top 5 memorable moments. Number 5 would be just Brooke and Lucas. Basically rekindling their friendship, or their relationship, I should say. I felt like in season 2, you might not agree, but I personally liked seeing Brooke and Lucas become friends again and patch up their relationship as well. I think they had a lot of drama going on with them and had a bit of a falling out. Obviously from season 1 and, you know, the whole Peyton drama and everything, understandable for Brooke, but Lucas kind of grew and they both grew apart. Then when they came together, I liked it. I sort of liked seeing them get back together. I didn't want Brooke to get hurt again, but I wanted to see them together when I was watching season 2. I liked the flirtiness between them. Even just when Felix and Anna came in the picture, Brooke paid attention to Felix and then Anna was with Lucas, so they kind of grew apart, but it was kind of nice to see them two have that friendship. It just worked. Brooke and Lucas was sweeter and more interesting and had more chemistry than when you see Felix and Brooke. I just could tell that Brooke just was not interested in Felix. You could just tell. It just wasn't genuine for me. You can just tell it wasn't a real relationship. Her and Felix just never would have worked. Just from the beginning of the series, I was always a Brucus fan because I love Brooke. I love Peyton too, but I just always loved seeing Brooke. I loved that Brooke and Lucas got together at the start. We know how it ends, but for right now, I really thought that was basically, you could see that's where it's heading. Number 4 would be Hayley going on tour and meeting Chris Keller. This was cool for me. So I liked it at first. I love that Hayley was following her dreams and that she's a musician. It was something different to these dramas. You know, usually the main characters don't go off and become like celebrities or, you know, rock stars. But I thought this was a really cool element to be part of the show. It made sense that Hayley could go and be a singer. And I just love that, yeah, she had really big dreams and went for it. I don't necessarily like how she did it alone. Why did she have to choose between Nathan and music? You could have both. That's what I didn't get. Like, why does she have to be married now, then all of a sudden your life's over? That's not true. It just doesn't make sense to me that you have to choose. You could follow your dreams, you could go on tour, and Nathan can come with you. Why did she not let him come? That's what annoyed me. It was a hard season to watch for that, because, you know, you have this cute couple, they're all couple goals, everyone loves them, and then it was just hard that she went on tour and sort of ruined it. And it was very out of character for Hayley. I felt like she did things this season that were not very Hayley-like. You think that Hayley is this sort of amazing character, which she still is. I still love Hayley. But in season 2, you just sort of see another side of her where you're like, I did not know you had that in you, or you would do that. So she annoyed me a lot in that season. Felt like it was all her fault though. Like, it definitely wasn't Nathan. He was the perfect husband. He was supportive of her. He encouraged her. He got really jealous with Chris, and I understand. I like Chris, by the way. At the start, obviously, you know, we hate him, but as it goes on, generally, like, I really like Chris Keller. He's a great character. I feel like he got a lot out of Hayley, and it helped with her confidence, but in the end, she really didn't need him. She was extremely talented, and it was a shame the way she handled it. I feel like, why did she have to go disappear and never come back kind of thing? She didn't have to do that. It was annoying for Nathan because he already had to deal with his family and how they were not supportive of their marriage. And then she goes and does this. And so it kind of gave, you know, Dan and Deb like a reason to sort of pick on Nathan and say to Nathan, look, I told you so. It just caused more drama for Nathan and stress for him that was just unnecessary. And I think he just turned into a really great guy, and it just sucked how she kind of did that to him, and he kind of spiraled after that. And it was just really weird to see Hayley as well, who was confused and unsure of what she wants and who she is. It's not so much really who she is. She knew who she was, but it's more so you could tell she was just a little bit confused and lost. At the end of the day, she is still a teenager. Just because they got married at 17 doesn't mean that all of a sudden they age. They're still those teenagers who need to find themselves and to figure out what they want to do. At the end of the day, I'll cut her some slack with that. But personally, I feel like this season, Hailey was shown in a different light, and that she was this perfect girl in season 1, and then you see in season 2 that she's human, but she did make some mistakes, and thankfully we see that there is some resolutions. Nathan and Hailey's relationship is strong enough that surely they can overcome this. That's what I was thinking when watching season 2. You know, it does make sense though that they have a bit of drama in their relationship, because it can't be too perfect all the time, because that's not reality as well. So it was kind of like, it was really dramatized, but it also made sense for them to have a little bit of disruption in their relationship. Number 3 would be Lucas being blackmailed to living with Dan. Along with that, there was, you know, we have the time capsule episode as well. It showed a lot of character building where Lucas is saying why he's going to be living with Dan. We find out Lucas has HCM, and then Dan sort of says, live with me and I'll pay for your medication. And I just hated that at that time when what he was doing to Karen. It just frustrated me because I just felt really sad seeing that happen to Karen. She met Andy, obviously, and Andy's an amazing character too. And just those scenes where she was crying to Andy and wasn't sure why he was doing what he was doing. That broke my heart because, you know, why the hell would he want to live with Dan? You know, in Karen's eyes, it's like, what's happening? You know, he's all that she has. And I found it hard to see those episodes where he was lying to Karen and not living with her. And then Dan's just got his smug smile, like all happy. He's discovered that he has this HCM, this heart condition. He's also knowing that there's something up with Dan. You know, he finds that ledger. There's just all that drama where they're trying to see, I think Andy's got like a private investigator as well. They're trying to look into Dan and see what he's up to. But yeah, it was just frustrating to see Lucas being blackmailed to living with Dan. It was just hard to see Karen, in my opinion, in those episodes. I also kind of like with that though, that you see the relationship between Lucas and Dan kind of blooming slightly. You see that kind of father-son relationship in a way for a little bit. I know that it doesn't last long. Lucas hasn't had a relationship with Dan all through season 1, and it was kind of nice to see a little bit of a change where you see Lucas living with Dan and you see Nathan going through a hard time and he sees Lucas living there and he's like, good luck. It was weird to see almost like a flip of the switch. To see Nathan not wanting to be in Dan's life and then you see Lucas living with him, and I think Deb at the time as well. Overall, I just hated that period of time for Karen's sake, pretty much. Karen upset makes me really upset, to be honest. Number 2 and 1... I kind of don't know. They kind of could be flipped in any order. Number 2, I'm going to say, would be Keith and Jules' wedding. That episode was epic. I hated what happened to Keith and how he finally falls in love with Jules, this beautiful girl who just, she's gorgeous, and Keith deserves the best. And, you know, she seemed really quirky and stuff at the start. At the start, I always didn't like the way she always was sarcastic. That really annoyed me. Before I knew later what was going to happen, I felt like she was always putting on a front. I always felt like she wasn't genuine. She was always paying him out and joking, and it was too much. I just hate when people are sarcastic too much. I find it really a little bit lame. But he really loved her, and it was sweet how he was just so romantic to her, and you could almost see Karen getting jealous as well, because Karen knows how great Keith is. At the time, it was just, you could see her jealousy a bit. Even though she had an amazing guy in Andy, you could see that she still loved Keith. Because in the end, it was her decision to not pursue Keith, really. Like, they could have had that relationship and then it sort of just never happened. I just hated when I saw that Dan was behind this whole setup of Jules and Keith, and he was trying to take revenge on Keith for sleeping with Deb. Now, I understand Dan being the way he was, being angry about it. I get it. Keith did something really terrible to Dan, and you just don't forget that sort of stuff. I get that. But he made a mistake, and he knows he made a mistake. He left town for it. But I think Dan takes it too far in what he does to Keith as well. It was just too much, you know, breaking his heart, and especially, you know, it happens at the wedding. Yeah, I think that was just a bit too much. I am glad though that Karen spoke up and basically ruined the wedding. It was her that spoke to Jules, and then it made Jules run away, and I'm glad that she didn't go ahead with it. At the end of the day, I always wanted to see Keith and Karen together. I'm glad that Jules ran away and everything, but it was still really sad what happened to Keith. It was hard to watch. As an episode though, it was really good. Definitely one of the most memorable parts of season 2. Number 1 would be the finale. Dan's dealership being set on fire by some mystery person, and Hailey coming home. Hailey coming home was, of course, one of the most memorable parts of season 2 as well. You know, you have her going on tour in season 2, and then at the end coming home. I'm glad that she came home then, because I feel like if it dragged out to season 3, it'd just be too much. And it's just too sad and too depressing because I just love Naylee. Dan's dealership gets set on fire. It's funny because I think in season 1 it ends with Dan almost dying, so 2 seasons end with Dan almost dying. We're in a situation where we're thinking, who did it? You know, was it Keith? Was it Whitey? Was it Deb? Was it Karen? Was it Lucas? Was it Nathan? There was a few suspects who we thought it could be, who Dan thought it could be. Dan, you can tell, believes it was Keith because of what he did to him with the wedding. Just the timing of it all and everything. And as we see later, which I will talk about in another video, how detrimental the timing of this whole thing was. And then what would lead Dan to do something so terrible, and we'll get to that in another video. Yeah, the timing was unfortunate because Dan believes that Keith did it, but we're in that situation with season 2 in the finale where we're like, who did it? It ends where we think Dan's gonna die. But then also we see Hayley coming home. You know, we're thinking like, okay, she's come home. Like, okay, season 3 is going to be so dramatic now. I was happy Hayley came home, but I knew it was going to be a journey for them two to get back together. But yeah, I was glad she came home. It didn't feel the same without her in a lot of the episodes as she was away. But yeah, that episode and that whole moment of just the finale moment just left you thinking you want more. You want to know what happens next. That was my top 5 memorable moments of season 2. What did you think of it? Did you have other memorable moments? There was a lot that I liked, a lot of other ones that I could have talked about, but I'm just going to do 5. It was hard to narrow it down, but for me, they're the top 5 that when I think of season 2, they're the moments what I think of really. They come to my mind first of what happened in season 2. But yeah, stay tuned for more content on my channel talking about movies, books, and TV shows and more. Thank you so much for watching.